Hey, yeah,
You know what it is.
yeah.
MARC,
Yeah,
ODD,
I like my ears on the sunny side from the west end where I
BA, double L,
reside. I got
double
a
L. I
hundred
need
times
something
many
else to
times I
rhyme
feel
better
like
with
I
that.
was
I don't know. Something better to end it with, you feel me? We'll be back with another one. You know, we did one last week. Maybe I'll piece something in there. Talked a little transfer portal, this and that. Then put it all out. I'm not gonna say that the Duke game ruined it, but we sent the guy to a Duke game. So shout out Cam, shout out the travels, shout out the 3 delays you had to ensue to watch your team get smacked like that. So we will talk about redemption to start out. Start out today with the U of L men's basketball game against Southern Methodist University, SM. I'm not gonna lie. You know, when we can score 90 points, I don't know, ain't much else to say on that tip. All right. See what my level's like. We sound pretty good. No, shout out our men today. 14-point win, 88-74 against SMU at home on a nice frozen freaking day here in the Ville. Had some snow. That's stuck. For those commuting to the game, hope y'all was nice and safe. Shout out to the 86 team. Before we even get started, shout out to our legends. Speaking of Ville legend, I don't know if y'all heard my boy Steady drop his project. It's a beautiful masterpiece. It's art. You know, a lot of people make projects, but this is art, and I think we should respect it as such. You know, show Steady some love. STXDY. Show him some love, man. Go give him a follow. We're doing some work with him right now. We have a past episode with him. Go check it out. We will probably have a future episode with him. We're gonna have a lot going on. We really respect what he has going on in his project. And we still want to elevate the Louisville music scene. So before I go any further, just wanted to say that. So getting back to it, shout out to the 86 team. Shout out Daryl. Shout out even Kenny for people who, this is still a thing for some people. I heard, I think it was Robbie echo some of the sentiments how it's been hard, to watch their brother fail ultimately, and having to hear about it for 2 years straight. It's not easy. We live in a world where a lot of people would rather be right than to support, what's right, maybe. So, with scheduling conflicts, aka UK going down to Arkansas, Kenny couldn't make it, but besides that, everyone else made it. That's dope. So shout out to the guys that paved the way. I'm born in '93, and even born in '93, like that's the only thing we heard around here was stories about those guys and how legendary they were, and still are treated by the community. You see Daryl somewhere, Daryl Griffith. I don't know, Wagner's and Purvis. It's just a beautiful thing to celebrate. It really is, and then to commemorate him with those uniforms, pretty fresh, a nice little rollout. Shout out Javon and Woolley, I'm pretty sure. If you haven't seen that rollout, you gotta go check it out. My boy 35KY Sports has it. Louisville's men's basketball, all that stuff. The sound selection, the beat was dope. The song was dope. All that stuff. That's fun. That's real fun. Shout out to them. I'm gonna shout out this lady twice, but shout out Debbie Annanelli. Debbie Annanelli. That's how we say it. That's probably how we say it. Where we from. Debbie Annanelli. You feel me? Anytime she's on the call, I already know what it is. Shout out to her bringing the best out of us. But yeah, men got to, real steady offensively when it comes to output. I'd say 88-74 win, 44 points in both halves, -20 differential in the second half for SMU. Excuse me. Got a point guard, Boopy. Not Booby. Boopy. Tough. This is a tough shot maker. Not big, really tough player. Played terrible against us last year, but had to know he was going to come out firing and being effective and being productive. Shout out to his game for SMU before I get started on Louisville. Number 5, Pierre Jr. He didn't have a good shooting game after starting out pretty well, but you can tell he's got game. So when we played him again, in a couple of weeks, I think, these are just things to look out for before, I get to UofL. Met the big man, I don't know. He's just big freaking Just, I don't know, bro. Bully. He's just a bully to me. I don't care. 7 of 8. I'm pretty sure the one he missed was a 3, in which that was the first one he shot all year. He did have 6 turnovers, and all 6 turnovers were off of that weak side help. That started being a lot more effective maybe once Khani was doing it, or maybe once, Pat started. Anywhere it goes, that was very effective on our end. She was a tell of two halves. SMU in the first half shot 60% from the field, almost 40% from 3. In the second half, they didn't even shoot the 3-point percentage from the field goal percentage, 36%, and then 25% from 3s. Tell of two halves. Simple as that. A lot has to do with U of L's defense, P's and Q's, intensity, actual, really being tied together and then not being soft inside. Well, everywhere. You know what I'm saying? That's really what was happening. They was getting a lot of open looks early. It's not just that they were hitting them, but they were pretty open, I'd have to say. SMU just, once Louisville put the clamps, more in a mentality, and then it complemented that with a consistent offensive game. It's more of the complementary piece that wore down SMU. U of L in the first half, as opposed, was 40. They were only down 3 at halftime. We were only down 3 at halftime, but shot 13 percentage points less. Of course, had like 8, maybe 6 to 8 more shot opportunities. Probably had to do with turnovers, if I had to take a guess. Only shot 21% from 3 in the first half, as opposed to 37% from 3 in the second half, and shot 52%, which is where the consistency comes from. I think a lot of that consistency comes from people like Javon Hadley, the junkyard dog, still, being consistent down low, giving us 2 points here and there, and still attacking in those moments, like when we started out the game and we couldn't hit anything from 3, almost to the point to where Mikel Brown felt like he needed the game to come to him, and he overpassed and passed to Javon, who turned it over when Mikel should have shot the 3, and blah, blah, blah. It was just early. It was just clunky. It was, they were playing hard, but it just wasn't polished. So, and you could tell because Mikel Brown started the game with 5 turnovers. I don't know if that'll ever happen again, and then finish the game with none. But tell it 2 halves, even on his part. Before we get into individual play, the bench came to play, man. 47 points. I thought y'all were our girls. Our girls are second in the nation in bench points, and they average like 37 to 38. So I'm like, our bench really came to play today. Really came to play. Their bench only had 5 points. Mars had 40-something. That really stresses and puts a lot of pressure on their starting 5. Something we've come to know over this past stretch without Mikel, and then when we're not getting production from our bench, not being sick, Kobe Rogers, up and down, but not tonight. Bench outscored him about 40-something. I mean, yeah, Conwell can go, 1 for 11 from 3, and we still win by double digits, with ease when that happens. That's real support. I think we out-rebounded them by 1 with the big 7'4" dude in the middle. Impressive. Thought it was impressive because our big men did give us much. I'll get into that later. I think we were +5 on the turnovers. Good job, team. And then +10 on points in the paint. Like I said, with our big men not giving us much, that means we were attacking and getting downhill and being effective in other spots, specifically our 4s, if our 5s aren't getting it. So shout out to Khani again, and shout out to Javon. So and then the last one, ball movement. 20 assists on 31 made field goals. That's probably where you won the game offensively. 65% of your shots, basically, assisted on, and getting into the bonus early in the second half. I think he got in at like 12. So things like that, man. It really gives you more opportunities to score. It really opens it up to where it doesn't stress the 3 ball on a 3 shooting team, which we've come to know too. A lot of that has to do with Mikel in the mix. So let's get into the individual efforts. Frew, 3 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists in 18 minutes. That's not going to cut it at all. I'm seeing regression, which I'll get into later, but when I'm looking, I don't want to compare. I'm looking at UK and Moreno, and you're 22 years old, Moreno would do you. He wouldn't do you, but he's definitely at least going to hold his own. I'm like, Frew, we need to, half of it's like regression, half of it's like, we need to get you back in a groove. Terrible alley-oop to start. We're a bad alley-oop throwing team. We just are. The first one ain't your fault, but at the end of the day, the 3 rebounds in 18 minutes is what I'm more concerned about. Shout out to the 2 assists, though. Still can have more, though. Woolley, 2 points, 1 rebound in 12 minutes. I got my buddy Cam, who's like, he can be streaky. He didn't even get a chance to be streaky. Thought he played hard defensively, though. Had a couple turnovers, I'm pretty sure. But not a good game. Ziegler, 8 minutes, 3 rebounds, 1 assist. He really hustled, though. So what you're not going to see in those 8 minutes. But, well, you might see it because he had 3 rebounds and Frew had 3 rebounds, and he played half the minutes. You know what I'm saying? And 1 assist. Did Frew rebound numbers in half the time, and he's, 5 inches shorter. He's playing against a 7'4" dude. So I'm like, and a good assist too, a good dump off. So Kobe Rogers, bro, I tell y'all every time, he falls so hard, bro. I don't understand it. And don't get me wrong, he played hard today. I love going up and trying to tip in some slams and this and that, but you're too skinny. Like little Desi Banks over here, he needs to stop. He needs to find, athletes, they find ways to fall with grace too. Like that's how you have the ability to get up. Like you know how to fall. Like and Rodgers don't know how to fall, but he played very hard. 7 points, 4 assists, 3 rebounds, 12 minutes. I mean, you had 3 rebounds in 12 minutes. Zugris had 3 rebounds in 8 minutes, and then Frew had 3 rebounds in 18 minutes. I'm just like, Frew. What do I know though? But shout out to Rodgers because he plays hard. He always does play hard, and generally plays smart. But you're too old to not be productive. For the rest of the year, we need production for you from you. And I'll get to that whole theory in a second. But Khalifa mine. 8 points, 2 of 3 from 3. It's 2 of 3 from 3, 2 assists, no rebounds in 14 minutes, which goes back to our 5 position. Again, not giving us anything when it comes to the to the rebound. I'm sure people are probably thinking, well, who in the hell will rebound? We'll get to them in a second. Khalifa played okay, overpassed on 1. That was a bad turnover. Because, like, when you're the assist man, it's like, that's cool, but what's your assist to turnover ratio? As well, I'm judging you on that since you're such a big passer. 10 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist in 29 minutes. The thing about Hadley is I'll give him a good grade on this game because he was the other piece that never stopped attacking and giving us something down low, especially at times when we needed an easy bucket. Kel did it a little bit, but that's about it. So pretty good shooting performance, but I just think he did well just playing defense, rebounding, just being a physical presence and giving us easy baskets. So Ryan Conwell, 12 points, 4 of 15, 1 of 11 from 3, 5 rebounds, 3 assists in 34 minutes. But I thought he played hard defense, and I thought he played hard defense the whole time. It's amazing the energy you have when you're not playing point guard and shooting guard and you're shooting the ball and trying to do this and you're trying to do that and you're trying to get everybody water on it. You know what I'm saying? When you're doing all that, it's just something's gonna have to fall off. I mean, we can't juggle it all. We can't do it all. So, and people who can, that's why they demand. That's why they just. So Ryan has not been on the heater, but we won conventionally without that, and scored 88 points without it. Which I'll get to another point of that in a second. Isaac McNeely, 14 points, 4 of 9 from 3, 5 of 10 from the field, 3 rebounds, 1 assist in 24 minutes. McNeely is arguably, that's one of the pieces that if we want to get to 90 a game and like we're playing, that's Pat Kelsey ball and, we're not just so micro on the defense. And us needing it to be such a big thing when it comes to our ability to win marginally, but also our 3-point shooting, using it as a catalyst to our offense and not something that just brings us down when we play teams that are physical and then we can't find an easy shot and then it just becomes a cop-out type deal. In games like this, when McNeely's hitting and he's convincing from 3, even when we watch Ryan Conwell miss 10 of them throughout the game and we still score 88 points, that's why someone like him is so important to the ceiling of our offense. If we can find consistency with him where he can get to double digits, or average around this amount, Louisville gets back to that high 80 range, which is very dangerous place to be. And then lastly, before I go further, McNeely, I like the fact that he cut for 2. It feels like he's slowed up a little bit on his jump shot, or he's not even really thinking about it as much and just shooting them up. Like SY is going in, shoot it, just shoot it. Stop thinking about this and that in the past. No, shoot it. And then Mikel Brown. He is the straw that stirs the drink for us. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Even with 5 turnovers to start the game, my man finishes with 20 points, 7 of 14 from the field, 4 rebounds, 3 assists in 29 minutes. With everything, the fans, his dad, is he going to come back? Where is this coming from? This is my standpoint. Where's this coming from? Just enjoy the last 15 to 20 games we got with this man, because he's special, and this team needs him to be special if we gonna be special. But to have that, how many teams don't have that, so they're not gonna be special? They got a good team, so we can't take that for granted at all, because that man is that man for a reason. I don't like when I feel like he's looking out the corner of his and he's shooting a 3 and he can kind of watch a dude who's coming. It looks like he's about to foul him, and then it looks like he's kind of shooting with that in mind. I don't like that. Other than that, Mikel is he's tough. He really is. They don't build Mikels every day, so just enjoy it. Just enjoy your last games with him and with the rest of the guys before they go too. So it's not a time for arguing. It's time for supporting and enjoying. But yeah, just real quick, I thought we started slow one. If we want to go like big picture, like things we need to work on, things that I thought we did well, things that I still think might kill us. Let's just quickly go down the list. We started slow, especially on defense, being connected and on closeouts. If we want to be successful as a team, we have got to play consistent defense. Our defense cannot be the one we played at Duke. It has to be the one we played, the game before that, Virginia Tech or whoever. And it has to be the defense we played in the second half specifically of this game. If you really want to, you could say the starting lineup was on that BS, and the bench, a la Khani Rooths, sparked that switch in the game. I'm not going to lie to you. Did I even talk about Khani Rooths? I didn't even talk about Khani Rooths on my whatchamacallit, did I? But I can't remember how many points how many minutes Khani had, but he had 12 points. I think it was 4 or 5 or 5 or 6 for something like that. But Khani was the biggest difference maker. I'm sorry, y'all, before I get to, maybe I can just go ahead and talk about it now. But coming in with a putback slam, alley-oop, he had another dunk off a back cut. He was the emotional trigger in the game. He was defensively was good on the rebounds. Oh my gosh. He had a double-double, I think 12 and 10. That is the Khani everyone's been waiting for. It's the Khani that the people who support Khani is like, that's what you need to do. That's how you need to play the game. You need to come in. Don't worry about a jump shot. You're so athletic. Big 7'4" dude was getting blocked out. Looked like he was going to get a board, and Khani just came through soaring, just snatched one. It's just like, oh yeah, you playing way above the rim. You tough. And that's what we need from you. Now that you've showed us that you can't go back. That's what people don't tell you about being great. Once you show it, you can't go back. So people always be like, what? He should be able to just run for 150 a game and 2 touchdowns and because, fantasy and this and that and da-da-da. And it's just like, that's the game we play when it comes to greatness. And that's why it's so hard to be great. Because you can't come down from the mountaintop at all when it comes to performance. So, but yeah, at least we were attacking and staying at it, early when it comes to the attacking, even if we were missing or, because that pushed us through our bad shooting and got us going. Because that lead, we were down early, 12, 15 points, and we're only down 3 at half. And a lot of that was due to that mentality to me. One thing that, we have a streaky defense. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's something that I can see being our downfall. The offense, if Mikel, Isaac, I'm going to call it the consistent quartet. I'm going to get to it. I'm going to call it the consistent quartet. We're going to need, Mikel, Ryan, Isaac, and I'd say Woolley, but it's interchangeable. It can be Javon, it can be Khani. You can switch all of them, but double digit efforts too. So in those modes, defense, steals, assists, rebounding. Because our fives, man, I think that's our biggest downfall. Of course, everyone says that and has said it, for a while. But when they lack the production, that they do in the time that they're on the court, Khalifa does well, but defensively, I feel like his plus minus might be iffy. No, all in all, we have to have a consistent quartet is what I'll call them. I don't need them all shooting a bunch of threes. I don't see that as the formula of hitting that, 90-point a game number. I see that in needing points in all facets of the game, which means free throw points in the paint to also complement that 3-point, advantage we supposedly have when it comes to, just the capability when it comes to our shooters. So that's one thing that I feel like I'll be monitoring in terms of scoring, like how much are you getting in the paint, how much productivity are we getting down there and the free throw line. And it's so much easier, like I say, when the straw that stirs the drink, when Mikel is, the catalyst in that. When we get late in the game and we're up, and Mikel's just at the top of the key, just cooking his man back and forth off the dribble, and then he attracts a double team or somebody needs to help, and then he'll dump it down. And, that's a cheat code in itself. That really is right there. It feels good to get back in the position of a game where it's like, and with Mikel back, where it's like, oh yeah, you can't mess with us now. This is kind of like this is our comfort zone. We're going to get free throws here. We're going to get this. We're going to get that. And then speaking of free throws, that is one thing that I will say. Again, down the stretch, did not shoot free throws well. This is something we haven't done. We haven't done well all year. UK game, if you want to just put out a prime example, I guess, was that game where it's like we were beating them, but UK, if they would have just hit a couple of shots while we were missing all those free throws, it would have felt and probably had the possibility of being totally different. Yeah, finish it off, something that can do wonders for us is Ryan playing really good defense, no matter how that jump shot's going. Because he gave us 34 minutes of really good defense. Like I say, it's crazy, the effort or the effectiveness of him on defense when he doesn't got to play point guard as well, and he doesn't have to get out assists and worry about this and that, and blah, blah, blah. So everybody played their roles very well. And that's what they'll need to do in order to win going forward. So shout out to our men for a big win. Big win for the men. Big win for the men. What else do I got? Before I get in the UK, I got to get in the UofL women's. Shout out to our women going on the road this week. Putting hands on Stanford is what I call them. Putting hands on Stanford. 5 of last 6 of the top 10 opponents Stanford has played. I'm sure a lot of that has to do with Tara Vanderveer, their Hall of Fame coach. If you don't know, you know. Now you do. But no, a lot of that probably has to do with going back to her. So that had nothing to do with us, obviously, because we came out with I don't even know how much we beat them by. We beat them by 20 at the end. I'm sorry, y'all. I don't know the final score. Let me make sure. Yeah. I ain't even gonna lie. I don't got the score. But I'm gonna tell y'all right now. Has to start with Mackenly Randolph. If y'all don't know Zach Randolph's daughter, former NBA All-Star. I don't know why my girl knows him best from Pitbull and Parolees, but yes, Pitbull and Parolees, Zach Randolph. He's the man, though. His daughter plays like him in a sense, but she started out the game hot, going 3 for 3 from 3. With us going up like 7 maybe at the end of the first quarter, her shooting had a lot to do with it. Pretty sure she tied her career high in points in the first half. So shout out to her. Shout out Mackenly. Shout out to our team for having the Swiss Army knife just abilities when it comes to scoring that keeps teams just off kilter when you have that many people who can score. I think we got about 6, 7 people who can score. Just, no, for real scores. So outside of her, I thought we just had good balanced scoring attack to start out in the first quarter. Excuse me, passing and attacking. I thought we get into our offense very fast. I thought Jeff Walls did early too, putting pressure on Stanford's defense. Didn't shoot that well early. Laura Ziegler didn't shoot that well. I think Taj maybe hit a few in the second quarter. But I thought, Mackenly starting the second quarter with offensive rebound. I thought, my favorite player, Amani Berry, she rebounded very hard. She's been rebounding very hard. But my favorite part about it is she's pushing it, and that really helps the transition game. But not only her, I think anybody who gets to rebound. And that goes back to the Swiss Army, knife abilities of Mackenly and the 1 through 4 and even the 5s. Because our 5s, I would argue they're not true 5s. They're hybrid 5s. They can take that mug too. So just the pressure it puts on the defense in the transition game, the whole team does that well. Effective full court pressure, switch up to defense. I mean, we turned them over at a pretty high clip. The thing was, I thought that we started turning the ball over ourselves a little bit, and that bled into the second half. Didn't start that well. Team shooting really didn't. until Laura Ziegler just took off and went off. And I looked up towards the end of the game and she had like 25 and 11 or something, 24 and 11. She drug us through a bad shooting, I would say third quarter as a team. But Laura Ziegler, if you haven't watched her, she's a baller. The I would say that defensive pressure let up just a little bit when you look at the numbers. No, I lied. I feel like just a complimentary team play. Just like I said before, the offense outside of Laura Ziegler, but we didn't have Anaya. So I wonder what that's about. I'm sorry, I didn't check it before. Let me check it real quick. Yeah, she was a game time decision. So shout out to Anaya Hardy. Did it without her ties. She hasn't been shooting well, but we've still been winning, which goes back to it doesn't seem like an embarrassment of riches, but like we have a diversified scoring attack is how I'll say it. But our women, I'm impressed. We play Duke this week coming up. I don't know if we play anyone tomorrow, Sunday, but no, we play Duke this week, so it'll be another big game. Impressive. I'll get to our other local brethren. I need to get more on UK women's. I'm sorry. What's my boy? Kenny, I think is his name. Up there coaching UK. Doing a good job. But let's talk about UK's men. Pulling off the upset, going down to Arkansas. Putting it on Cal. A very entertaining game. If you go back and watch the game highlights, you may have to maybe watch the condensed game and not the highlights because it was entertainment was not always between while the clock was running, if you know what I'm saying. So the first half, I'd say UK started out hot. At one point, they were 9 of 10 from the field. So that's why it's like. But then I looked up and Arkansas scored and they were only down 9. So I'm thinking to myself, and Acuff hadn't scored yet. So I'm thinking to myself, well, it doesn't bode well for UK because as soon as they, slow down, or all it takes is on top of that, Arkansas's offense finding their footing. So yeah, I was worried. Diabate, man, he's tough. You play him with another guy like Moreno who takes up space and can rebound too. Diabate can really, one-on-one, he can get a lot of rebounds. So I would say the game got tighter once UK's offense became more perimeter oriented. I think that is what slowed them down a little bit. So like example, like first half did well, started slowing down, get it more tightly contested. When they were not hitting shots, they finished the half on 2 with 2 inside shots and then 1 to start the second half. Moreno, I think, hit him with a little hook. But that kept the score at bay. Because, a lot of coaches say it's how you end, when it comes to any sport, how you end the half and how you begin the half. How you end the first half, how you begin the second half generally determines the game. So unless it's NBA basketball where everybody's down 30 and just comes back whenever they feel like it. Anyways, let me get back to the point. Thought they played good team ball. And then I didn't realize that under Mark Pope, UK's 30-1 when leading after the first half, going into the second half. So Acuff off because he missed some free throws again to start the second half. And I'm like, he's 80% free throw shooter and he's missing multiple. I didn't figure it just wasn't their night. Acuff's night. And what we see, turnovers feeding UK's transition was poison during that stretch, and they did it a couple of times. I feel like Ewan, a.k.a. Zach Fox, and if you don't know Zach Fox, that means you don't laugh enough. So go look up my boy Zach Fox. Shout out to Epic Elementary. Shout out to Reek. Shout out all the different things he plays. He just went on tour as a house DJ. I just went to his show down at Mercury Ballroom. Dope for real. But anyways, his 7-foot lookalike Ewan, Florida State transfer who did numbers while he was down there. I feel like he should have been doing numbers on Marino, just based on his experience and his abilities. I'm very impressed with Moreno. I'm very impressed. What I see out of him is what I thought I would see out of Sananda, the big red fruit. He looks like a big puppy out there. And not to compare him because comparison is a thief of joy, but that's just the way I feel about that, Ewan as well. So then the fun stuff started. So Owe started laughing as Garrison got a technical. I feel him. That was, that was soft for real. And then right after that, Mo Diabate came down and blocked somebody's shot and yelled into the camera, and then they got a technical on him, which I'm like, bro, they do this all the time. So it felt like Arkansas was doing what they could, keep them in the game. And then there was a 10-second call on Aberdeen, I'm pretty sure. So I'm like, it started getting wild. And then there was a tech on Pope. And then Billy Richmond came down and slammed on him. So like at this point, they're only down one. And I want to tell y'all something funny. We played in the league, or somebody we played with, he got a technical, he got mad at the ref, debated it, gave him another technical. He's like, man, da 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 da. He's like, technical. This is in the playoffs too. And then he kicked him out, and he was like, still talking. And he was like, if y'all don't get him out, we give him another technical. So at the end of the day, they ended up shooting like 14 shots, bro. And we were up like 6 and ended up being down like 4 or something. So that's, in short, that's what this game felt like with the technicals. It felt like it was a swing on the technicals. And UK's was crap. I'm with UK. Theirs was crap. A lot of home cooking, a lot of pig feet, you feel me? But believe it or not, I still thought UK would win. I thought, with the A-Cup being off and they couldn't stop UK down low, I just thought the way the game was flowing, that those are two of the biggest answers, and Arkansas doesn't have an answer for it. Arkansas doesn't have an answer for it. Then, of course, A-Cup finally gets going. As soon as I think this all out, he hits a 3, and then he lays it up. So now Arkansas is up 4. So I'm like, okay, I guess let me go ahead and eat my words. Yeah, and then Oway turns it over, right? So then I'm definitely eating my words. But then Ewan gets a tech. Ewan's tech was a little slick. I like how he just tried to lay the ball, trying to throw the ball on him like in one motion and step over him. That was slick. That was another, I'll call it a church league swing of the game, if you've been listening. That's what we'll call it. But all the momentum shifted back to UK. I saw Modi Abate in the background. How people just shoot. I'm working on my form. I missed that last one. I'm like, Mo, just don't even do that. Stop doing all that. You can't shoot no way. You think me watching you imaginarily work on your form is gonna be like, oh yeah, Mo's. No, that jump shot's trash. So I don't think the ghost shots is gonna make it. Make it any better. But at the pretended, it was up 5 after all that, and never let him back in. So shout out to Mark Pope, the man who loves to jump in the middle of the melees when it's all starting. That's the most annoying part to me. He runs out there so quick. I'm just like, just let him handle it. Unless you just don't think that they're responsible enough to handle it. The way Oway was gaslighting Garrison after his technical. So I don't know. Big win for UK. I'm sure Cal's hating it, but she wouldn't ruined Mark Pope's first year. So go ahead and go in and ruin his, and keep the ship steady, as the words of your fan base rocks it. So let's see, sports stuff. Do I have any other sports stuff? Do I have? I do. Someone said the Broncos plan to build a $4 billion stadium with a retractable roof, and I'd say about time. Anybody who's in the North is trying to eke aim in the North. Especially like this time of year. I ain't gonna say this time of year. I'm gonna say anytime once winter starts and we get deep in the autumn, I ain't going up there. I ain't doing that. I'm cool. Shout out to you Northerners who do, though. I'm a southern boy. I'm raised down here where I need it. My bones start to hurt. So see, shout out to the Senior Bowl. Shout out to the Louisville players who represented, or the local players who just represented the schools in general. Renee Conga did have a tackle. Seth McGowan, anyone know that name? UK Wildcat running back, 1 reception for 7 yards and 4 rushes for 35 yards. And then TJ Quinn, 5 tackles, 1 solo. So shout out my mans on that. What other some random storylines? What time is it? Yeah, I think Carlos Alcaraz is about to play in the finals of the Australian Open. Speaking of the Australian Open and finals, young Eleanor Rybakina, over our girl Sabalenka. She got a tough little tude. Anyone who knows her got a tough tude. Look at Rybakina, though, starting the year off strong. A lot of the big names, play well, but didn't do what they needed to do to pull it off. So shout out to them. Shout out to Coco Golf. I don't know, racket smashing was on my algorithm for 3 days earlier this week. So I just want to say shout out to Coco because someone was saying their mom was sick. So I don't know if y'all seen the boxer Jarrell Miller, I think, but bro got hit so hard his whole top piece of his hair got knocked off. It was like talking. It was like yang, 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 yang. Brody literally knocked his top off type shit. I found that interesting, but the last two most interesting things I saw of the week on the sports tip, Charles Tillman, Peanut Tillman, whatever you want to call him. That's just crazy. I could be tripping. My homie's from South Carolina. I'm pretty sure he grew up with him. Is where it gets weird. I knew this though. I thought I knew that he went and worked for the feds and turned into a federal informant. I thought I knew this, but the story going around of Lil Reese talking about, yo, da-da-da, that's him, that's the man, that's the feds. Used to play for the Birds. I thought that's crazy. That's like Cold War freaking actor, double agent kind of deals. So I don't know what that's about. But and then LaMelo Ball. Should I just end it like that? What is up with, Karl Anthony Towns was zesty, read all about it. But now we got LaMelo and your boy. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, that's some bad footage. If there's footage out there like that for me, I'm gonna have to get it erased. Can nobody erase it? I might go live and hit them with that one of those little Men in Black resets. Anybody on the stream, on the live. So it's a whole group of people who got Mandela. That's what I feel like I have to do. Because boy, LaMelo, you ain't beating allegation. And, you gotta love black men getting the demasculating kind of ritual on that front. But at the end of the day, it's some freaky shit, bro. Shout out to Steph Curry. I think he got himself Sundance or something like that. Yeah, did a short film. So shout out Steph. I think that's it. Thanks for messing with OddBall. You know what it is. ODD. BALL. It's your boy MARC. Rate, review, subscribe. If you ain't followed, follow. We got two pages. We got the real iPod and we got OddBall HQ_. One sports and then one's everything else. We had to go ahead and separate it. If you haven't followed our man 35KY Sports, go ahead and do that. We have a multitude of interviews with a wide range of people. If you're tapped in the community, you probably know somebody. Or, we got 1 degree of separation in this city when it comes to our community. So please tap in and just check out something. I mean, we've done everything from neuropsychologists to which that's its own format and thing. That's its own entity in itself. To plenty of artists, to people who've marched with Dr. King. I would advise people to rewind that episode back as Black History Month approaches us. We got it all, man. I want to feed y'all's hunger of knowledge, but I also want to do it from a standpoint of don't miss what's up under your noses, because sometimes those are the they're almost like the elementary building blocks when it comes to your surroundings already having things that maybe people are looking for. It's just we have to start there and building community and supporting each other's. Excuse my rant. Just want to let y'all know this. But yeah, lastly, somebody was talking about Paul George. Look, Paul George. I don't know if he took the pills for his mental health or not. Bada boom, bada bang. Cool. That's on you, right? My thing is the two things that really took him out before all this. Of course, the ACL. But secondly, the mid-range game. I felt like his game was a lot less efficient and productive once that mid-range kind of deal came into effect. And then him playing specifically under Daryl Morey probably had a lot to do with it as well at Philadelphia. So I'd say the devolution of the mid-range game was probably a great downfall to my man. And do I think Bird called Mad Max a nigga? I do. I think Larry Bird did call him a nigga. And the worst part is, I think he called him it just like that. I think he called him a nigga, which would infuriate me even more because I'm like, ain't no way he really gonna do me like that and then be cool like that. Like he's part of the community, bro. It's a bad boy right there. Shout out Larry Bird. He's the only person who can use it in that exact setting, in that for a way and format. And if he uses it in any way outside of that format, he will be charged by the culture. And then the Giannis trade, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I don't care. Sorry. We out.